Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum. In today's video, I'll be refuting one of the most common arguments for evolution, and I'll be bringing one of the biggest problems for evolution as well. This is about the waiting times problem. Let's get started. So, here's the common atheist claim. One of the most common arguments for evolution is that in deep time, anything can happen. What this means is that billions of years are basically enough to have all the diversity of life emerge, the different types of life, such as plants, animals, and different types of plants and animals, etc. Of course, this is just an intuition, they are not bothering to justify this. So, I'll give a basic refutation, then I'll go into more detail. How should we determine how much time is enough for the diversity of life to emerge? Should we just take a random guess and assume a particular time span such as a million, 10 million, 100 million, or a billion years are enough? Or should we use rigorous estimates and science and mathematics to calculate the needed time? I think any rational person will choose the second option. Now, before I go into the argument, I'll just give a brief primer on how Darwinian evolution works. And this is basically mainstream stuff, no one disagrees with this. Genetic information, and it is information basically like a programming language or any kind of information, and this is something that is widely accepted by evolutionary biologists. Genetic information is carried in the DNA. The arrangement of bases in DNA basically function like a programming language. A particular function will arrangement of function will code for a particular protein, or will have a different function such as a particular arrangement of letters in the English language will basically form a particular word, or a particular sequence of code in a programming language will execute a particular program. This is No one disagrees with this. According to evolution, when this information is transferred from parent to offspring, minor changes called mutations take place. And these mutations are supposed to be the thing that is responsible for the diversity of life. Moreover, they are, and something another thing no one disagrees on, they are functional slash beneficial mutations as well as neutral and harmful mutations. Keep this in mind. So now I'll get into the refutation of the atheist claim, and I'll point out the problem for evolution. The number of beneficial mutations that have taken place throughout the history of life is enormous. Think about it, the absolutely massive number of different features of plants and animals would require an absolutely massive number of different mutations, different beneficial mutations. So this is something no one can disagree with. To know that if there is enough time for evolution, we need to figure out the ratio of beneficial to non-beneficial mutations and the number of mutations that have taken place. And if you don't understand this point, after two slides I will get into detail and I'll give a very simple analogy of how you can understand this. But the basic reason is for knowing the ratio and the number of mutations is this: if the ratio of beneficial to harmful mutations is such that beneficial mutations can emerge by chance in the time span that we have in the history of life, then Darwinian evolution is plausible. And a beyond generous figure, by the way, for the number of mutations that have taken place is 10 to the power 40. And I don't think anyone will disagree with this. This is like a beyond generous figure. I don't think anyone will disagree with this. Now I'll get into the problem for the atheists. The ratio of beneficial mutations to non-beneficial mutations is 1 divided by 10 to the power 77. This is an astonishingly minute number, and this is basically the study was done by an intelligent design proponent, but the study was published in mainstream evolutionary biologist journals, and it was peer reviewed. And other studies by mainstream evolutionary biologists have shown similar results. So this is the ratio of beneficial to non-beneficial mutations. Now, how do we find out if there is enough time for evolution? We divide the total number of mutations with the ratio of beneficial mutations. Why is this relevant? And I'll give a very simple and intuitive example so you can understand this point without being overwhelmed. Let's suppose there is a lottery, right? Where the chance of winning is 1 over 100 and there are 1000 people participating in it. It is likely there will be 10 winners, right? This is clearly understandable because the chance of this happening is 1 over 100, meaning in every 100 people it is likely that one person will win. There are 1000 people, so we can multiply that by 10. Basically we can divide 1000 divided by 100, we'll get the answer 10, and it is likely there will be 10 winners. This is something intuitive and clear cut, and I think you can understand this. Now we can just compare this analogy with the case of ratio of beneficial and non-beneficial mutations and the number of mutations. In our case, the ratio of beneficial to non-beneficial mutations is analogous to 1 over 100, the chance of winning, and the number of mutations analogous to the number of, to 1000, the number of people participating. So, how will we find out how probable and improbable it is for just one beneficial mutation to emerge? We would divide the number of mutations divided by the ratio. This is the same thing divided by the denominator of the ratio. This is the same thing we did in the lottery example. And if you have to watch this video twice to think about this, please do, because this is an important concept and I think I am explaining it in a clear cut and intuitive way. The result of this, basically the what this is telling us is the probability of one beneficial mutation to emerge in the entire history of life is 1 divided by 10 to the power 37. This is beyond improbable. This shows how unlikely it is for one beneficial mutation to emerge in the entire history of life. If there is not enough time for one beneficial mutation, then there is absolutely not enough time for evolution because it requires numerous beneficial mutations. This is basically the waiting time problem, and this is basically a clear cut understanding of the waiting time problem, and this shows the absolutely massive problem that exists for Darwinian evolution. Now, after you watch this video, please watch the video I made on the argument for God from biological information. These are covering related topics and both of these are related to each other. But as far as the basic problem for Darwinists is concerned, I think you can understand that clearly from this video. And this is just a general scenario regarding just general evolution of functional mutations or beneficial mutations. This problem, the waiting time problem, it occurs throughout the fossil record as well. And there are numerous examples of this. I'll just give one. According to the fossil record, and this is something mainstream evolutionary biologists acknowledge, there is about 6 to 20 million years for human evolution to have taken place. According to the calculation done by mainstream evolutionary biologists themselves, the time needed for just one coordinated mutation is 216 million years. This is a mainstream evolutionary biology study, and for basically human evolution to have taken place, there would necessarily be required more than one coordinated mutation. This is something they all agree on. So here's the basic problem. If human evolution took place according to evolution, as Darwinists defined it themselves, 216 million years are required, at least. But the fossil record only gives us a time of about 6 to 20 million years. So understand the problem. The process requires, if evolution is true, 16 million years. You only have at most 20 million years. So 200 more million years are required than what we have. So this just shows another example of the massive waiting time problem that exists for evolution, and there are dozens of examples of this. In conclusion, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Again, this is one of the biggest arguments against evolution. It's an absolutely massive proof for intelligent design. But the point about it being a proof for intelligent design is explained in the other video that I link in the video description. It's about the argument of God for God from biological information. Please watch both these videos and please like and share the video. I would really appreciate that. Till next time, Assalamu alaikum.